Welcome back, gear nerds. Today we are going to have a look at setting up an expression pedal. Thank you very much indeed to a sponsor who asked me to do this and show you how to set up an expression pedal. Before we get started, I've just tried out, I had a bunch of expression pedals. This is an M-Gear EXP. It is really cheap, made of plastic, and it feels cheap, to be honest, and it works perfectly fine. I've got a sort of medium priced Moog EP-3, which also I just tested and it works perfectly fine. And just by coincidence, I've got a really expensive heavy duty Mission expression pedal, which is really designed for use with my Kemper, and this one also works completely fine, although I've got to admit I didn't test out the foot switch feature. I will put links to those products down below, and if you are interested in buying, it would be great if you bought them from the links that I've got. I'll put some links to Thomann, and which I usually have really good prices on these things, and to Amazon. So H90 is actually very, very good. So the specification says any expression pedal which has a TS or TRS connector and is between 10 and 25k. Now that all sounds a bit complicated, so there is a very long list of compatible pedals which Eventide have put in the forum. I'll put that list down below or on the screen, but it's quite a long list, and if you just have an expression pedal lying around, just try it. The ones I have here all have a TRS connection. So TRS means tip, ring and sleeve. It's two black lines basically, but TS pedals also work. Now be careful, you don't want to use a volume pedal which does have a TS connector. Although it will work, the taper of the pedal won't be all that useful for you. So the first thing we need to do is connect the pedal. Now the pedal will obviously have a connector. There are two expression control connections. You can use both of them. So I'm just, for no other reason, get rid of that piece of fluff from my floor. For no other reason than just randomness, I'm going to put it in number 1. Now the first thing to do when you have connected your expression pedal, oh, I just forgot to say one thing. If your expression pedal needs you to connect at both ends, this one is hardwired, but if it needs you to connect at both ends, connect it to the pedal first, because the H90 won't be able to detect it correctly if you don't connect it first. Okay, what are we going to do to configure this thing? You only need to do the calibration once, the first time you connect it. So, step 1, calibration. What we're going to do is hold down, to get into the system settings, hold down programs and routing. You just saw me do that. And then we're going to use the select knob to scroll across to I/O. On I/O, you can see this little white bar which allows us to scroll through different things. Here we have pedal 1, expression 1 and expression 2. So pedal 1, actually you can put other things in that slot, but we're going to tell it it's going to be called expression 1. In reality, I have nothing at all. Now here's the interesting thing. The calibration button, you would think it might click to do something, but it doesn't. What you actually need to do is turn it, and as soon as you start turning it, the screen comes up, the calibration screen comes up. And this one's not quite calibrating down to 0. I'm going to try it again. There you go. And I think the trick to it is, oh, now it's up to 99, not up to 100. I think the trick to it is set your pedal to be at the heel position before you turn the calibration off. So this is on heel, calibration on, it says 0, push it all the way forwards, and now you can see it's calibrated. It's not quite reaching 100. Oh, crumbs, look at that. If you've got any experience with expression pedals, that is what they're like. Right, now our expression pedal is set up, but you can't see what's going on. Now, there's a couple of ways to set this up. As usual with the H90, there are a few different ways of doing things. And that's a good thing because it gives you a load of power, but it's a bad thing because it's hard to understand. So let's do it the simplest way, which is connecting the expression pedal to just one of the parameters. Now, let's say we've got our vintage delay. And we want to connect it to the feedback parameter. Now, I set this up earlier, by the way, so you can see it's already doing it. It's already doing it. But I'll show you how we do it. So what we do is we want to assign something to this control. So let me just go back again. Let me just start this again. So let's say we want to connect our expression pedal to one of the parameters of the delay. To get into the parameters screen, we tap parameters. And then we can scroll through the different parameters using the select knob. I'm going to choose feedback A as the first thing to do. So hold down feedback A and we get the control source screen. So first of all, parameter feedback A, we already know it's that. The source is going to be the expression pedal, and which expression pedal is it going to be? Number 1. We only have it 1. And we're going to go to the next screen and we're going to say, where do we want the range to start and end? Do we want it on 0 to 100, or perhaps we only want it to go from 50 to 100? Now I'm going to show you that in a second. First of all, I'm going to start from 0 to 100. So if I turn this to say end, this parameter will show me where it ends. So if I want it to end at 100 and I want it to start at 0, I just turn those knobs. That will be the range that I'm controlling. Now, the next thing is I can actually control other parameters. So let me just show you that working. Feedback A, it goes up and down to 100 because I just set that. Feedback B, I had previously set up before recording this video. And you can see it's going to 110, so you can have different parameters. Let's do feedback B. And feedback B, what I'm going to do with this is I'm going to set it so that it starts at 40 and it ends at, I don't know, 90, let's say. There we go. And watch what happens. You can see that these two parameters are simultaneously being controlled, but they're moving in different ranges. Now, interestingly enough, I think with the delays, if you want to have feedback, you're always going to have to do feedback A and feedback B because they always, the time factor delays always have 2 delays. Now, you can set this up to control any parameter, and there are some effects, some algorithms which really need an expression pedal. For example, the wah effect really needs an expression pedal. So that is the way you would do that. And of course, now if we go back, we can now save our program with the expression set in. So that was option 1. directly connecting. By the way, you don't need to see the screen for it to work. It will be working like that. This is now directly connected to this program, and the expression pedal only has that function in this program. If we switch to another program, it won't work. So by the way, I'm going to save that now. Save the program, and now it's saved in. So if we go back, you can see it's working really nicely. By the way, it works really smoothly. For such a cheap pedal, it's quite nice. There's no way you're going to go touring the world with it, but if this is for your back bedroom, this pedal is perfectly adequate. Now, there is a whole other way, part 2 of the video, there's a whole other way of doing this, where I'm going to set up the expression pedal globally and connect it to one thing which will apply to all programs. So to access the global settings, we go into Global menu, and then we select Global, and then it'll bring us to this list. We scroll along and we come to Global Pedal Control, and here there are a range of global parameters. Now, I previously put this up on my MIDI video, but I will show you a little screenshot now of the list. You can see from this list that there are an awful lot of parameters that you can control globally. Now, not all of them are suitable for control with an expression pedal, so let's just find one, and what I'm going to do actually is find one for the program hot knob. So somewhere down here you can see here P hot knob, and I'm going to make the control source EXP1. So now this is a global setting, so whichever program we're in, you can see that it's being controlled by the expression pedal here. But just to prove it to you, I'll switch to another program, and you can see program, gosh, that's annoying. The program is being, now I could have allocated it to one of the quick knobs. So in fact, why don't we just do that for a second, because it's annoying on the hot knob. So actually, let's leave it on program mix. Control source is going to be expression 1. And you can see program mix has now been allocated. It's also, by the way, still doing that because that is now a global setting. So program mix, that might be a useful thing to have globally. Otherwise, you will need to do it per program. So expression control can be done, 1, by each program has a parameter. So that's how you set it. Or 2, global, and then that is the same for every program. There you have it. As usual, if you've got something out of this video, please click the like button. Please click subscribe if you'd like to see more nerdy content like this. It's not just the H90, by the way. I've got content about all sorts of nerdy guitar rubbish. See you next time. Thanks very much for watching.